Good morning. Are you self-employed or a contractor wondering if buying a home is even possible? The truth is, qualifying for a mortgage looks different when you don't get a W-2 paycheck, but that doesn't mean that it's out of reach. Today, I'm talking to Lisa from Guild Mortgage about what self-employed buyers need to know so that you can be prepared with confidence. Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Tell me a little bit about yourself and how long you've been in the mortgage business and how you came to Guild Mortgage.
Well, I've been in the business for about 24 years. I used to teach corporate tax law for ADP, and one of my clients, a mortgage broker, recruited me. And so I've been in the business ever since. And I've been with Guild for about maybe 115 days.
Okay.
And I joined Guild because they have a really positive and wonderful presence in Albuquerque.
Has it only been 4 months? Because it seems
Yeah.
like you've been doing this forever. Like
Well,
every time I talk to you, you're just like there with all the numbers and the facts. It's amazing.
well, I've been in this business for 24 years, but I moved my license over to Guild about
Ah,
115
okay.
days ago. Yeah.
Okay, so you've
Yeah.
been a mortgage broker for a long time.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. All right. Well, that's why you're so on top of things all the
Well, I
time.
try.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about self-employed people and people who are
Okay.
contractors, right?
Okay.
So for somebody who's self-employed, how does the mortgage process look different than for somebody with a W-2?
Okay. With the W-2, an individual has a job and they get paid by an employer, by somebody else.
Mhm.
When you're self-employed, you are generating your own income and you're also filing your own taxes. And what people tend to do when they file their own taxes is write everything off so then they don't qualify when it's time to buy a house.
Okay. So we're just going to talk about that. So let me backtrack a little bit. So then when somebody comes to you and they're self-employed, what kind of documents do they need to have?
Okay, so if they're self-employed, they need to have their tax returns for their personal return and
Mhm.
their business return.
Okay.
They need to have their business license and sometimes articles of incorporation. That's the articles of incorporation are just who owns this business. Do you own it or does somebody else own it? Because when we're looking at the tax returns, we want to be sure that that income is all their income and not somebody else's income as well.
Okay. So in my previous career, I was a contractor. I
Mm-hmm.
was a healthcare contractor. And so I got a 1099
Yeah.
every year. And so is that also something that you look at as the 1099s?
Well, the 1099 is transferred to a form, and not to be too technical, but it's called a K1. And the K1 determines what your income is going to be.
Okay.
That information, so if somebody is set up with a corporation or an LLC, they can have a business return, which is an 1120S or a 1065.
Hmm.
When you have a business set up that way, then your business pays, you are the officer of your business, and your business pays yourself on a W-2, and then it transfers to your personal tax return.
Oh, okay. So it still ends up, you end up being an employee of yourself.
You are an employee of yourself. Now, I always recommend that people set themselves up as a business, an LLC
Hmm.
with an 1120S tax return,
Hmm.
because your tax liabilities are going to be a lot less.
Okay. Okay. But that's a whole different conversation.
That's
That's
we're going to get go down a
yeah,
rabbit hole with that
okay.
one.
And so what is the number one mistake that you see self-employed buyers making? You were talking about writing everything off.
Mm-hmm. So one of the biggest mistakes I see self-employed buyers make is filing their own tax return.
Okay.
Okay, they'll go through TurboTax because TurboTax sells themselves, and this they just make it seem so easy. But if you don't go to an accountant that knows what your plans are for the following year and what your goals are, then you're not going to file a proper tax return. When people file their own tax return and you get, let's just say you get a 1099 and it's for $100,000, you're going to try to write off as much as possible. So then your tax liability is so low, now you don't qualify. So finding the perfect tax accountant and then also being able to tell your accountant what you want for deductions and what line items. Because if you put deductions on certain line items, I can take that deduction, what you're writing off, then I can add it back into the bottom line.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
like depreciation.
number one is make sure you have a good accountant
Yes.
who understands what your goals are. And then this sounds so complicated.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. And so,
I have cheat sheets that I can give to
oh,
accountants.
okay.
And so if you have I have an accountant that I have sent at least 50 people to,
Okay.
and she is open. So if I say to her, look at, I like what you did last year,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not going to work this year when they want to buy a house. Here's a cheat sheet that we use on the underwriting side
Mm-hmm.
to make sure they qualify.
Gotcha.
And so now
Okay.
she's really helping her client, and I'm helping the client, and
Mm-hmm.
we're working together. Sometimes accountants don't like feedback, but finding the accountant that wants to learn and grow.
Gotcha. Okay. Wonderful. And so really planning ahead is the key here,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody knows that they want to buy next year, what should they start doing now?
Well, there's a list of items that they can depreciate.
Mm-hmm.
So they want to be able to make a list of everything that they can write off. Depreciation is key because depreciation on your tax return is line 13.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a 1099 for 100,000 and you write off 50,000, okay, your net is 50,000. But if your depreciation is 25,000, I can take that 25,000, add it to your net of 50, and so now your income is 75,000 versus 50, which means that you qualify for a lot more.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. So really, and somebody needs to be self-employed for 2 years really before they can
Not
start
necessarily.
applying. Is that right?
That's what people believe traditionally.
Mm-hmm.
However, let's just say that you received a 1099 and you worked for a hospital. You don't own the hospital, but you choose to receive your payment as 1099.
Mm-hmm.
Now you open your own practice. So
Okay.
if you open your own practice and you're in the same field, it's very highly likely I can get an approval because
Okay.
you're not going from like a car salesperson to working as a medical provider. You're going from a medical provider to a medical provider.
Okay. So for a lot of my former colleagues who were contractors, right? So they can go from one contract to another.
Yeah.
So the actual contract doesn't matter so much as the length of time that you've been in the profession.
Sometimes a contract would be great. So let's just say that you just graduated college and you haven't started and you're going to get paid a 1099.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can use the contract as your income so I can qualify you before you even start
Mm-hmm.
your job. So it really just depends on the situation.
Okay, interesting. And so then if somebody works for an agency like a traveling nurse or a
Mm-hmm.
locum tenens physician, that doesn't and it's usually like a 12-week contract. Those individual
Mm-hmm.
contracts go for 12 weeks
Yeah.
usually. Sometimes longer, but that's about average.
Yeah.
So, but that time at that individual contract doesn't matter so much.
Well, if the person has been a traveling nurse for a certain period of time, then the length of time that they have proven to be traveling nurses, it's part of the equation.
Okay.
And then, and one more thing, let's just say that an individual has been self-employed for 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
and their tax returns are up and down, but they know that next year they want to buy a house. I can help them beef up their tax return for just the 1 year because if you've been self-employed for 5 years or more, I only
Mm-hmm.
need to use one tax return, not two.
Oh,
So
okay.
I won't have to average it, but I'll help
Mm-hmm.
them set up their tax return properly so then they would be able to qualify.
Okay.
So I'll only need 1 year tax return.
Okay. All right. So are there specific loan programs for self-employed people?
Yes, there's well, let's just say, someone just decides to write everything off. That is their choice. They write
Mm-hmm.
everything off. There's a loan called a DSCR, and that stands for Debt Service Coverage Ratio. And you can buy the house as long as your FICO score is like it's right around 660 and above. And you put 20% down, sometimes less, and we use the rental income
Okay.
as their income. So we won't have to look at their tax returns.
Oh, okay.
That can
Mm-hmm.
work for somebody who's also has a W-2 and pay stub.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's not just self-employed, but it works for everybody. But self-employed people love it because they don't want to provide their tax returns. So that's one program.
Okay.
So they qualify with the rental income. As
Okay.
long as the rental income covers the mortgage payment, they're good to go.
Okay.
Another program would be bank statements.
Mm-hmm.
So bank statements, we look at deposits. And so we have a lender that we like to use. They will go through every line item on your bank statement and they'll figure out what your income is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another way without
Okay.
having to look at tax returns.
Okay. And let's see, we talked about that. And so we talked about programs. And you are so great about being able to find creative ways about getting people finance. You and Elizabeth both are wonderful
Thank
at
you.
finding those little creative things. I'm always amazed when I talk to you guys. What would you say to somebody who's feeling discouraged? Somebody's a contractor or somebody's self-employed. What would you say to them if they're feeling discouraged about getting a home loan?
Well, whenever I take an application, um, I always do it personally over the phone or in person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't send them to a website um, to fill out an application. And the last question I always ask borrowers is there something that you're concerned about? Is there
Mm-hmm.
something that you're worried about? And they share their concerns with me, and I let them know that I, as a loan officer, I am not like a commercial bank.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say any names, but I mean, I mean, I have a checking account and a savings account, so I have a commercial bank. But usually, when you go into a bank, they just tell you you don't qualify.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't do that. I have a binder, and my binder has a tab that says mortgage ready.
Mm-hmm.
And so, whatever the situation is, if I need to help them bring up their FICO score, I can do that rapidly in a matter of 5 days. I can help them build credit if they have no credit in a matter of 5 days. If their tax returns are just horrible, I can introduce them to a wonderful accountant.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always a solution, especially like for myself. Um, I have a lot of passion and rigor towards bringing hospitality to my job.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about doing loans and selling.
Mm-hmm.
It's really about building relationships and friendships with my clients.
Okay, great. And then you also like if it's things are really complicated, I know you give them homework to do too.
I do.
Uh-huh.
So we were talking about this earlier. I have a client that her parents are in the hospital. They're elderly, and she needs to fix up this house a little bit more in order for her to sell it and get the best value. So we're doing a loan for her, but she's not technically savvy and she doesn't know how to get certain things from the internet regarding her own accounts. So, I was up till 10 o'clock last night on the phone, literally with the client, going over her trusting me, giving me her user ID, her passcode, so I can get the documentation for her. And that was a lifesaver for her because she needs to get this loan done.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have to give them homework, and then sometimes
Mm-hmm.
they still need our help. So
Right.
until the loan
Mm-hmm.
is done, they need our help.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you're really good at hand holding and walking them through the whole
Oh
process.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love my clients. I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. I know. All right. Thank you so much. That was
You're
really
welcome.
helpful. And if you're watching and you want more mortgage insider tips, watch my mortgage playlist over here. And if you are a solo buyer starting your journey, don't forget to grab my free solo buyer's guide. The link is in the description. And of course, hit subscribe so you don't miss any future tips. I'll also put Lisa's information in the description below. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. How did that go?
I thought